I think is unacceptable. You understand? You cannot, as a huge public figure, and a minority leader is a huge public figure, accuse people of criminal offenses and go forward to speculate their bail conditions and so on in the future. I think it's terrible. You understand?
Right.
And I'm just wondering if the minority leader were in Sammy Gyamfi's shoes, how he would have felt about what he did in that press conference. I think it's clearly unacceptable.
Right.
Hello guys, you are once again welcome to PENDREAM TV, your #1 political show in Ghana and beyond. Today we bring you another explosive reaction from Kwesi Pratt on the matters of Afenyo-Markin's press conference, in which he lets the public know how they will imprison Sammy Gyamfi when they capture power come 2028. And from Kwesi Pratt, he said the statement made by him is a reckless one, of course, and as a minority leader in which everybody know him or the position to be a powerful position, should not just use it to make any accusation anyhow without facts. He said a lot of things which I would like you to join me listening to it into detail right here on PENDREAM TV. If you are a new member, you have not yet subscribed, please do so for us. Hit the notification bell, like, and also share to other members to watch as well. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Whenever I say my PENDREAM TV there, I see them yupo
From an IMF, an IMF report, and they have, based on that IMF report, been asking some questions. And as far as they're concerned, GOLDBOD has not been doing a good job in that sense, so they're making losses. GOLDBOD has actually pushed back and said, look, read the report again, and also read the audited reports of the Auditor General. We are not making any loss. Indeed, we've made a profit of some 5-point-something billion cedis. So it's a back and forth between GOLDBOD and especially the minority. We've had civil society organizations who have said, look, let's look at the net effect of the introduction of GOLDBOD as a policy intervention or economic policy intervention. Today, what is the exchange rate? What is Ghana's reserves, and so on and so forth? So those are the things we should be focusing on rather than transactional operational losses and so on. In any case, every policy, economic policy, comes with some cost. Now, if the cost generates a certain, overall economic effect, which all of us, by and large, are enjoying, yes, we can have a conversation about, can we do better with the transactional cost? But to make it seem as though it's such a bad situation, sort of, it's a bit of a red herring. So if you look at today's Ghanaian Times, the story is there. It's actually on page 12. The minorities' concerns have been published by the Ghanaian Times of today. Now, we're told that GOLDBOD 22 billion cedis loss, minority demands answers, and it's by Jacob Agri, who says the minority leader in Parliament, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, has maintained that the minority's concerns over the reported 22 billion cedis loss linked to the Ghana GOLDBOD are not politically motivated. He said the concerns were being raised because Ghanaians deserve clear information on how public funds were being used in GOLDBOD's domestic gold purchasing program. Mr. Afenyo-Markin made the remarks at a press conference in Parliament yesterday where he defended the minority's position on the financial implications of the program. He said the figures cited by the minority were contained in an International Monetary Fund report on Ghana and were therefore not figures manufactured by the opposition. According to him, the IMF identified losses of $1.7 billion equivalent to approximately 22 billion cedis from the domestic gold purchase program in 2025. He said the IMF attributed the losses to service and assay fees, discounts on gold sold to off-takers, and exchange rate differentials or differences between the rates which are used to purchase the gold and reference rate used by the Bank of Ghana for accounting purposes. Mr. Afenyo-Markin said the reported losses should be subjected to public scrutiny because GOLDBOD played a central role in buying, aggregating, assaying, and exporting the gold while the Bank of Ghana provided the financing. He questions why GOLDBOD should receive fees from the transaction while the associated losses were reflected in the Bank of Ghana's accounts. The minority leader stressed that the fact that the loss appeared in an institution's account did not change its economic impact on the country. He therefore is calling for answers on the prices paid for gold, how those prices were determined, the selection of off-takers, discounts applied to gold sales, and the fees earned by GOLDBOD. Mr. Afenyo-Markin also questioned the risk-sharing arrangement between GOLDBOD and the Bank of Ghana, arguing that an institution undertaking the commercial activity should not benefit from transaction fees while another institution bears most of the financial risk. He said the minority was not seeking to trade insults with GOLDBOD officials, but was focused on holding public institutions accountable for the management of public resources. He is urging the government and GOLDBOD to address the concerns raised by the IMF and provide Ghanaians with clear explanations about the reported losses. Mr. Afenyo-Markin said the minority would continue to scrutinize the program because its financial consequences ultimately affect the Ghanaian taxpayer. Would you want to take this, or you want to, Kwadwo?
No, I don't mind.
Anyway, okay.
I don't mind.
What really are the concerns? What's the issue?
Look, it's interesting. I want to break this conversation into 3 parts.
Okay.
Why we are here, and what has happened, and then the way forward.
Okay.
If you cast your mind back to the first half of 2025, the conversation in the country was what? The NDC came into government and took G4O and the gold for reserve losses that the Bank of Ghana has made at the time and hounded, insinuated, said all sorts of things. In fact, my brother Provincial was called to Yoko and was arrested and all that because of some civil society now did what you call counterfactual analysis and all this. All sorts of things happened in the first half of 2025.
Right.
Because the domestic gold purchase program had 2 legs. The gold for oil leg and then the gold for reserve leg. And in the gold for under the domestic gold purchase program, there was a loss of 1.4 billion Ghana cedis in the 20.
So it was anchored on 3 legs, isn't it? There's the gold for reserve, gold for oil, and then the gold for what do you call it? Forex.
No, same thing. Gold for reserve is gold for forex. Same thing. It's 2 legs. Gold for forex is gold for reserves.
Okay, it depends how you look, but that's fine.
But it's gold. It's 2. Gold for oil and gold for reserves.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
So basically, the NDC made all sorts of pronouncements and made it look like the gold for oil was good for nothing. It was one of the worst policies that has ever come up, and the domestic gold purchase program has caused losses and this, and also, and we can all go back and tune our minds to the first half of 2025. Nobody mentioned net effect on economy. Nobody mentioned economic positivity comes with a cost. Nobody said any of that, right?
Okay.
Everybody, all the so-called intellectuals who are making these statements, did not. And like I said, there were all these counterfactual analyses that were done to paint the domestic gold purchase program, which has only made 1.4 billion loss, as one of the worst policies that has ever been envisaged in this country by the MPP.
Okay.
We explained, I, Poku, have all the documents from Bank of Ghana through the right to information. So we explained that the 1.4 billion was even a loss for over 2 years, 2023 and 2024.
Right.
That loss was not even for 1 year, right? But nobody will listen. And I was the first person to go on record to say that the Gold Board is going to make further losses in 2025. When the 2025 accounts is published, they are going to make losses. People said, don't worry, Gold Board. Why did I know that? Because when we started the domestic gold purchase program, it was a program that Dr. Bawumia came up with for a purpose. We did not have enough forex. And before Dr. Bawumia started with this domestic gold purchase program with gold for oil and gold for reserves, there were only 2 ways that government gets forex. 1, the Eurobond, and 2, the cocoa syndication loan.
Yes.
The biggest chunk, we get forex from exports, but those are small amounts.
Right.
But the big chunks came in for domestic gold, the Eurobond, and the cocoa syndication. But the whole concept of domestic gold purchase was that we have cedis, that's what we print, right? Locally, we have a lot of cedis. We don't print dollar. You can only earn dollar. So in the in-between, when you've not done any transaction and you don't have enough dollars, and you have a demand for the dollar locally, that's when the cedi depreciates. So the concept is that use your cedi to buy gold, because gold is also money. And when you have that money, you can either use the money, which is the gold, to make payment directly, which is gold for oil, because we spend about $450 million a month in buying petroleum products. So get people that will supply you this 450 million worth of petroleum products and give them gold. And some companies were happy to take it. Or sell the gold for reserves, where you would have plenty dollar and service the demand of your importers, right? In so doing, there was a loss of 1.4 billion. The cedi actually, which had gone high to about 16 point something, because of this policy in 2023 when it started, the cedi had come down to 14.6 in January 2025, right? So there were effects, good effect on this thing. Now, when the NDC made all this noise about bastardizing the Dr. Bawumia idea and made it look like it's a monstrous of a catastrophe,
which is the gold for oil,
the domestic gold, don't separate it. They bastardized both the domestic gold purchase. Hold on.
What I recall was the criticisms the NDC had at the time was the gold for oil.
Which one had made a loss? Which one had made a loss?
At the time, the party had all kinds of.
Which one had made a loss?
And all of that, yes.
Which one had made a loss? The 1.4 billion that they were talking about was from what? It was from the domestic gold purchase. You see, let's not separate, because whether it's G for O or it's gold for reserves, it all boils down to buying gold. That's why I don't want to separate the two, because when gold is bought, the Bank of Ghana buying gold from GOLDBOD did not say that, as far as the Bank of Ghana is concerned, they had one account. They had an account which had the G4O aspect and the gold for reserve aspect. In fact, by the end of the NDC MPP leaving, we had actually toned down on the G4O aspect, and we're doing mostly of the gold for reserve aspect. The reason I don't want to separate the two is that it's confusing. Let's put it down as the domestic gold purchase program, which had made a loss, right? What they were bastardizing. Let's fast forward. Some of us said that, look, GOLDBOD is going to make losses. The people said, no, GOLDBOD is new. It's not like PMMC. We are going to do it and we're going to do it well, blah, blah, blah. Then fast forward, the IMF report comes out, which had come out earlier in the Bank of Ghana's own report, and they said it's not true. There was denial that losses actually were made. And we've now come to realize from the IMF report that there is a $1.7 billion loss as a result of gold purchasing done by GOLDBOD on behalf of the Bank of Ghana. The semantics that everybody is doing, which my brother Sami Jemfi is going to today hold a press conference, is neither here nor there. If you are an agent and somebody gives you money as an agent to do something on behalf for him, and your operations causes losses, you cause the loss.
How?
Hold on, what do you mean how? The how is very simple. Nobody is saying that. You see, this thing where people keep saying that, go and look at the audited accounts. We know that on the audited accounts of GOLDBOD, the loss doesn't sit there because the money was not for them.
So then how then do you say GOLDBOD has made
They made the loss. They are trading losses. You know, in business, there's something called trading losses.
Yes.
Trading losses, hold on. Trading losses is different from your P&L.
Yes.
So you put this down as trading losses. The losses occurred at the instance of the GOLDBOD. And I'll give you the instance. Let's mark it on the wall.
Okay.
When GOLDBOD brings out their 2026 accounts, you will see that losses that sat in the GOLDBOD's account this time will sit in GOLDBOD's books, because their operations is problematic. That is where we wanted them when they came in to sit, for all of us to sit and look at it. Now, I gave some slides to your producers to put something up, and I want to correct a few things. GOLDBOD did not make a revenue of 5.5 billion. Can you put the revenue slide on the screen for me?
Okay.
The audit services is doing something that they should stop.
What is that?
when government gives money to a state-owned enterprise or an authority, that money that government give is not supposed to go to your P&L. If you look at this document that they put there, you say that what government gave to GOLDBOD is 4.5 billion. It captured it as a grant. GOLDBOD's revenue is 970 point something million, which is the non-tax revenue. So GOLDBOD revenue was never 5.5 billion that everybody's talking about. It's government of Ghana that gave the money. So it's capital injection, which in their own accounts is being captured as a grant. So how is anybody saying that GOLDBOD made a revenue of 5.5 billion? What revenue they make? That's the audited accounts. So when the audit services keep making that mistake of putting that government injection as a revenue, and you put that revenue in your P&L, it's a mistake. Let's put that aside. Please put in the assay slide.
Your point is that...
I'm getting there. Are you going to ask a question?
No, your point is that the grant which was given to them by the finance ministry is not revenue earned.
Yeah, it's not in business. It cannot be classified as revenue.
Okay, so it's a grant.
It's a grant, okay. Or it's a capital injection.
Okay.
Now put on the assay. Now look at their revenue. 82% in 2025. 82% of GOLDBOD's revenue came from charging Bank of Ghana commission fees, Bank of Ghana commission charges, and assay fees. So they acted as agents, right? And this 970 something million profits or revenue that they made, they charge it to Bank of Ghana. They did not do anything as GOLDBOD. They made 82% revenue by just charging the money that Bank of Ghana has given them. So if you look at this slide that I've put there, it tells you what the assay fee they charge is and what the Bank of Ghana charges that they charge. Okay. Now, if you now add all that, you make this much. So the business now going forward, GOLDBOD in 2026 accounts, in their 2025 accounts, will not be able to charge themselves these charges. You understand the point I'm making?
So its revenue will not end.
The revenue they will not end because it's easier to charge somebody that fee. Now the GANRAP, under the new policy, they've transferred the gold for reserve policy to the Bank of Ghana, to the GOLDBOD.
Yes.
So GOLDBOD will now have to use money on their own balance sheet to now do what? Cost of sales. So now they will have to now generate revenue, and from that they will now make their expenditure. But they can't charge anybody. They can't charge a third party, which is Bank of Ghana, these amounts.
So the only amount they would miss or they will lose is the 558. Is it 74 million? No, it's the 74,000 cities, isn't it?
No, the commission to GOLDBOD, the commission to Bank of Ghana, and the assay, because you can't charge your own. You can't charge yourself assay.
And the BOG service charges.
The BOG service charges and your assay, because the assay will be a cost to GOLDBOD. Because GOLDBOD will have to do their own assay, and they have to pay for the assay.
All right.
So you cannot charge yourself assay. You understand the point I'm making? Okay. Now you see. The reason I can comfortably say that in 2025, when the 2026, when the 2025 accounts come out, when the 2026 accounts come out in 2027, GOLDBOD will be making these losses in their books. Is because of the nature of the business they are doing. In the IMF report, page 10 of the report, it says that data available suggests that the artisanal, ASM artisanal, we are the most expensive in the region. Why is that? Do you know why, Moro? Okay, when you go to the pit to buy gold, the guy who is selling you the gold uses what to sell you the gold? The world market price as a reference.
Absolutely.
The GOLDBOD is using the world market price as in buying crude gold. The gold you are buying the reference should not be the world market price, because it is crude gold. It's not refined gold. You have to now take that gold, do all sorts of things, and then do the dory. Now we say we are going to refine the gold. All that comes with a cost. You have 3 tier, a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 buyers. They are all adding their cost to the operations. So in the end, when GOLDBOD gives that gold to Bank of Ghana, they've given Bank of Ghana gold that when you sell, you make a loss. That is why we are saying that it is the GOLDBOD's operations that causes these losses. And it's the GOLDBOD that has now caused the loss. Now, when somebody say that the loss doesn't sit in the audited accounts, yes, we know it doesn't sit in the audited accounts. So all these press conference you are going to do to now tell us about your audited accounts, we've seen the audited accounts. The simple conversation we are having is that the operations of GOLDBOD result in losses, which in business is called trading losses. I don't see where the argument is. Now, let me show you something. Put up the bank list. You have one company. You see the number of bankers they have. Why? See the total numbers of bankers GOLDBOD have. Look at the total numbers of bankers. When Atoforsin came, what did he tell us that he's doing with ECG? That ECG have plenty accounts. They are doing only one central collection account. This is not what Atoforsin told us. Why is GOLDBOD operating about 18 bank accounts? And all these banks are charging. All these are losses and costs to the corporation. So you see, let not Sami Jeffrey makes it look like somebody hates him. Or somebody, when most of the things that people say on social media, you are envious of him. How? You now say, you could have easily go to the Parliament House. Parliament is saying that, look, come and let's have a conversation.
Has he been invited?
Yes, and it was blocked by the majority side.
Because Sami says
it was an inquiry, but it was blocked. How would he be invited? His people in Parliament blocked it. All this brouhaha would have been over if you have gone and sat in front of the parliamentarians and explained certain things to them. Because there's no organization, if you yourself will have all these bank accounts details or have all these bank accounts. Why do you need all these bank accounts to run GOLDBOD? So you see, there's 2 ways forward. Sami can just eat a humble pie, call everybody to the table, and let's make GOLDBOD what an institution we all want. Because the brain behind what you are doing is Dr. Bawumia's baby. Gold, the domestic gold purchase program, we've all agreed that is the only way to solve our forex issue. We agree. Do we agree that there's a problem in the system inherent? Yes. Because even the 16% cost of there's a 16% cost of reserve, which for me it was too high. You are saying that, oh, we can now look at our operations and bring it down between 7.5 and 5% cost of reserve, which is good. But there are other things that you are doing that some of us are saying that the reason we can project some of these things is because your operations has embedded problems. You don't want to listen to that. Meanwhile, we'll be back to this table next year when the GOLDBOD accounts come out in 2027, when you've made losses, because that's the only way forward for you. So look, for me, it's neither here nor there. Yes, it doesn't, the loss doesn't sit in the GOLDBOD. That's why everybody say, oh, go and look at other accounts. It doesn't sit there, we know that. But when you have trading losses, you are making trading losses. The fact that the trading losses sit in somebody else's book doesn't mean that you did not make the loss. You made that loss.
It's interesting. Kwesi, what do you also have to say about this issue?
Let me say first things first.
Right.
You know, I'm sitting here with the 2 of you. There has been a long submission on GOLDBOD.
Yes.
At the end of it, I'm not wiser. I don't understand what the fuss is about.
Right.
I don't. Honestly don't. Okay. But you know, before we started this program, you played a clip of an address to the press by the minority in Parliament.
Yes.
Amaro, how did you feel? When you watched that clip, what did you feel? How did you feel? I honestly was disgusted. And I'm using the word advisedly. You know that I don't normally use strong words.
I know.
But in this particular case, I was completely disgusted. Here is a minority leader in Parliament who calls a press conference and says that when we win power, you are going to arrest the chief executive of the Gold Board. For what? He says, we are going to arrest the chief executive of the Gold Board. And his bail condition will be so huge that he cannot meet it, and we will lock him up. Am I lying?
Yeah.
But he didn't say that. So, I mean, let's put it in perspective.
So what did he
That's
say?
not what he said.
So what did he say?
He said,
Say what he said.
people are being arrested for making 5 million losses. People are being arrested for making 10 million losses. Meanwhile, when you are arrested, he didn't say that he was going to be arrested. He said, when you are arrested, then your bail condition will be huge. So it's two different things when somebody says that when I win power, I'm going to arrest.
How is this different from what I've said?
But he didn't make a categorical statement that he's going to arrest immediately.
Made categorical.
Well, if you're going to quote him.
Okay, no problem. I'm inferring. Because this is not the first time that these reckless statements have been made. You know, these absolutely reckless statements have been made. I think it's unacceptable. You understand? You cannot, as a huge public figure, and a minority leader is a huge public figure, you know, accuse people of criminal offenses and go forward to speculate their bail conditions and so on in the future. I think it's terrible. You understand?
Right.
And I'm just wondering if the minority leader were in Sammy Jemfi's shoes, how he would have felt about what he did in that press conference. I think it's clearly unacceptable.
Right.
That's number one. Now, number two, it seems to me that we are behaving as if whatever the IMF says is gospel. IMF says it, and therefore it is true. There's a problem with that. What the IMF says is not gospel, cannot be gospel, and it needs to be interrogated. That's my second point. Now, my third point, I'm going to be illustrative, you understand? You see, you have property which is worth $10 US, okay? At a time when the exchange rate is 200 to $1. So the value in cedi, 200 cedis to $1, the value in cedis would then become 2,000 cedis.
Yes.
Okay. Now the same property, same value in dollar, $10. If the exchange rate reduces to 100 to $1, its value becomes 1,000 cedis. Is that a loss?
No, that's not a loss at all.
So you have to factor in the exchange rate and its impact on values. Okay? And if you do that, some of the things that we are calling losses would not be losses. You understand?
Right.
So that's one angle. Now, the third thing that I like to talk about is that, look, every government has priorities. So if a government decides that one of its major priorities is the stability of the local currency, and it uses resources to stabilize the currency, will the resources used to stabilize the currency amount to a loss? Would you call that a loss? When the objective has been achieved, would you call that a loss? Okay, so in all of these discussions, we have a major problem of defining what a loss is. Because if you don't have a common agreement on what constitutes losses, we'll be talking across purposes and we won't come to any useful conclusion. Okay? So government A may decide that, look, the value of the city is so crucial to the citizens that we want to spend a certain amount to shore up the city. If that amount is spent in shoring up the city, it cannot be a loss because the objective for which the amount was spent would have been achieved. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
I get the point.
So this is the framework I want us to adopt, for this conversation. I'm mindful of the fact that today maybe a few minutes or hours from now, the Gold Board is going to be addressing the media.
11 o'clock, exactly.
11 o'clock. And is going to be giving its version.
Further and better particulars.
Yes. So I'm willing to wait for the Gold Board.
Okay.
When it has made a statement, then we can do a comparative analysis, of what the World Bank says, what the minority leader says, what the Gold Board says, and so on, and come to some reasonable conclusion.
Okay.
You understand? But now, I think that there's a lot of hot air,
Right.
which is being blown around.
Okay.
A lot of hot air is being blown around.
So
Lamoro,
let me read this
in the a quick one before you read your message. You see, in the same, let's take the context with which Uncle Kwesi ends its submission, the framework under which a loss is defined. You see, if that was adopted, or that is adopted, then there would have not been a problem with the 1.4 billion loss, which was a lot of noise was made about. There wouldn't have been.
But this is the problem.
Yes, but you see, but
This is the problem. The problem
it's a problem.
saying that
Yes, but the problem
because
that we,
I think it was done to Dr. Baumia, I must do it to everybody.
no. One
What is
cannot
the
be. No.
evidence?
Uncle Kwesi, no. The two crimes that we are trying to point out, and when I made my submission, that's why I'm saying that if you want to put a loss of $1.7 billion, which is 22 billion Ghana cedis, to economic policy costs, which Uncle Kwesi is rightfully saying that, look, let's have a policy or a framework under which losses are decided. Then it has to be true for both instances. Then the first thing Sami Jamfi has to do in his press conference is to apologize, because you see, though he's CEO, Uncle Kwesi, though he's CEO of Gold Board, he's still the communication officer of the NDC. So whatever the NDC has said, under the framework that Uncle Kwesi, I agree with you 100%, if we are to use that lens to look at both instances, then there shouldn't be a problem. Because the 1.4 billion is a cost of policy, net effect should be calculated, and the 22 billion should be the cost of policy, and the net effect should be calculated. So then we don't have a problem. Yeah. But you see, Moro, we live in a hot political climate where somebody comes in and wants to brandish every single thing. Somebody makes a GDP growth of 7.7, and somebody says that it's a bad economy. Meanwhile, he's making 6.4%. How is that? That's the problem, Uncle Kwesi. So when you are advising, and I know they are your good friends, advise them. They are your good friends, Uncle Kwesi. They are your good friends.
Everybody.
No, but they are good. I add an adjective. They are your good friends. I'm your friend. But then these are your good friends.
You are not my good friend.
I don't know that. You have not told me that, Uncle Kwesi. Am I your good friend?
What do you think?
I think I'm your friend. But the NDC are your good friends.
Okay. How do you come to this conclusion?
Because the point is that, Uncle Kwesi, I have listened to you on multiple occasions.
About good friends and bad
no, but I've listened to you on multiple occasions, and you speak well for your good friends. So I'm saying that under the lens, when you speak with them, tell them that they should stop it. We should stop this. I agree with you 100%. If they stop it and we look at everything with one lens, then there will not be any propaganda. What was done under the NPP with that lens should be looked at with the same lens when the NDC does it. In that instance, your good friends and the friends will all be in the same room discussing policies to move the country forward.
You know, I will spare you something, because I think you are naturally perhaps a good person.
So I'm your good friend.
Hold on. But look, how do you look at my history and make the kind of statements that you are
making? And these are your good friends? But they're not your enemies?
No. Well, hold on. You should know better. Mm-hmm. In the struggle against the PNDC, I was a key participant.
Yes.
I was a leader. Mm-hmm. In the MPP's move to win power in 2000, I was a very key player.
Even before that, because you stand on something, I've read the history before.
I was a key player.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I inaugurated the first Dankwa Buzia Club, which eventually became MPP, at the KO Methodist Park in Kumasi.
Okay.
You understand? I fell out with the Kufuor administration on matters of principle.
Okay.
In spite of that, today, President Kufuor is still one of my closest friends.
Okay.
I see him on a regular basis. we speak on telephone and so on. You understand? He's not my enemy. Okay? I criticize the National Democratic Congress when criticism is due and reasonable.
Okay.
And there are many instances on which Moro will bear me out. I've been very critical of the National Democratic Congress. This attempt to throw things at me, you are very good friends with the NDC and so on, cannot destroy the credibility that I've built over many years of participation in national politics. And please be minded by that.
I'll take it back.
When I speak about your claims that Sami Gyamfi will be arrested and that his bail condition will be so huge that he cannot pay and so on, I do not speak to these issues because Sami Gyamfi is my friend.
Yeah,
in fact, since the National Democratic Congress came to power in the January of 2025, I have never met Sami Gyamfi. I've never seen him in the whole period. You understand? So you should understand that.
I agree.
Okay? Vice President, I've seen her casually at a friend's birthday party. We didn't even speak. We didn't shake hands over the period that they have been in power.
Yeah.
President John Dramani Mahama, I've seen him twice. Once when he came to launch my book, and he passed in front of me at the AU summit in Addis Ababa. Those were the only two occasions on which I've seen President Mahama. So these are your claims. Please drop them.
Okay.
They are worthless.
Okay.
It is propaganda.
Okay.
And it's calculated at reducing my credibility or denting my credibility and so on. My history.
I don't think that was the
politics,
intent. The intent was not to attack your credibility.
My history of participation in Ghanaian politics would not support the claims that you guys make. Why is this thing that you are good friends with NDC?
But would that be a bad thing if you are good friends with the NDC?
The man who eventually became your flag bearer, your recent past flag bearer, go and ask him what me and him have done together.
Recent past flag bearer, Danado?
Yes.
Okay, president, former president?
Yes.
But why would he say recent past flag bearer? He was president of Ghana.
Forget whatever you say.
But he was president of Ghana.
I agree with you.
So why are you not saying, why are you remembering the flag bearer and not the presidency?
I'm not agreeing with you. I agree with you. Why? Every day, Moro, I'm not exaggerating, every day.
Okay.
We ate at least twice a day.
With Anado?
Yes, twice a day. We either ate breakfast and dinner together, or breakfast and lunch together, or lunch and breakfast together, every day for many years.
Wow.
Is he my enemy? He's not. When President Kwadwo became president, and President Kwadwo is still alive, Kwadwo Mpini is still alive, I ate lunch with him every day if I was in the country. Every day. He's not my enemy. The fact that we disagree ideologically and so on does not make people my enemies and my best friends and so on. Take that equation out of the conversation.
Okay. Uncle Kwesi, I would take back. Uncle Kwesi is not good friends with the NDC. I'll take it back. You are friends.
All right.
I'm saying that it does not arise in this conversation.
No, I was saying that there are certain advice you are giving us, which I agree with you 100%. I would have thought that since you are passionate about that submission, that advice going to the NDC will give sanity and bring sanity to our national discourse. Because the differences of why I'm here, why everybody, and the statement that Afenyo-Markin is the double standards. That's all. Where somebody is being hounded in Yoko because it's claimed that he made a 5 million Ghana cedis loss, and somebody is making a 22 billion Ghana cedis loss. That's the double standard. It's got nothing to do with, because Uncle Kwesi, you and Kweku Bakun were the heroes we had living in Kumasi. When we hear stories, you know, when you are telling folklore of the PNDC era, those that Rollins couldn't stand and they will appear everywhere Rollins was. It's you and Kweku Bakun that we talked about in Kumasi. Okay. So how can I sit here and your credibility is intact? All I'm saying is that the NDC have a certain posture. And you have good analysis and positions on this matter. And they should also be given that same advice. It will help with the national discourse. Because if 1.4 billion is a cost, is economic policy cost, so should 22 billion be. But 22 billion cannot be economic policy cost, and 1.4 billion is a gendarme and somebody is a bad government. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Let's do that.
Listening to the both side, I think Kwesi Pratt is making a factual argument, and Kwadwo Poku at the other side, I think he's just defending his party people. Because as a minority position, everybody respect that position. And for you, Afenyo-Markin, to come out to make that accusation without any evidence, just seeing something on paper and coming out to say blah, 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 and threatening someone of his future freedom, I think it's not right. I don't know what you think. You can leave your comments as well at the comment section. If you're a new member, please do subscribe because we have more coming your way and you cannot afford to miss out. Thank you and stay tuned and stay blessed. Keep watching PENDREAM TV.
Dedi kama mamena PENDREAM TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Ah nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.